This is reel number 1, taken in Switzerland in 1945, right after World War II was finished. You'll see the person in the boat to the right, that's me. And we're going to proceed to show you the rest of the films that I took while in Switzerland and on our way back from Germany to France, where we debarkated. Here we go. Okay, these are of course in black and white, because that's all we had at the time. I found the film when I found the camera. It was Kodak German film, and had it processed when I got back to the United States. This is the towns that we were in. I'm really not that sure of, but there were several guys from our company who got a 1-week pass to Switzerland. Cost us $37.50 for food and transportation and room. So I'm not going to be able to tell you the different towns that we were in because I don't remember. But this is about September of 1945. This is a cable car that we went up on one of the mountains, and the scratches that you see off to the left is caused by the film sticking, just as it is right now. Hang on. Those were some of the poor splices that I made in the film when I first started putting these together. This is the coming up to the top of the mountain where the cable car docks. As you can see, these films aren't too good, but they're worth keeping, I think. This was a Seaman camera. It was called I think it was SIEMAN, a German type camera. And all the instructions were in German, and I had one of the fellows read some of it to me, but again, it was not an automatic exposure, so consequently you see some of the scenes that we took were overexposed. It was an not an autofocus, but a set focus. Just to give you some idea of the buildings that were there. Here again, poor exposure. Seemed to me these were better when I first saw them, but could be that through time they've deteriorated somewhat. That was not me diving in. But we were in like a valley here, and either the next day or that day we went up to the top of these mountains around 14,000 feet. We were in snow, and there were a lot of ice sculptures that were cut up there in caves and so forth. It's very beautiful. I don't recall if I took any of those or not. These houses, these buildings in here are just magnificent. These are some of the people getting on the boat. These were Swiss people. And of course, in Switzerland, they speak both French and German, depending on what part of the country you're in. As you can see, I wasn't used to panning. You're supposed to pan like 90 degrees in 10 seconds, and I think I reversed that. There's a nice looking building. Don't know what any of these are, but restaurant out over the water. Don't forget, this was in 1945 now, so you're seeing some pretty nice architect. And of course, Switzerland wasn't involved in the war. Consequently, none of the country was devastated by any kind of bombs or anything like that. Now this is back at the camp. This was a, I think it is, let's see. Yeah, this was where we had a lot of the prisoners of war that we captured, and we guarded this camp for about 6 months until we came home. We had German prisoners in here. It had been a concentration camp. I got that mixed up there. Looks like I'm back in Switzerland again. Most likely see more of that other. When I spliced these together, apparently I didn't take them in sequence. Yeah, this is the snow that is up in the mountains, that the same area that where you saw that little boy jump swimming in the water, that was just down about 14,000 feet into the valley where the water is warm enough to swim in, and up here we've got snow and ice. This is another town in Switzerland someplace. Streetcars and I know we went through Bern, so it's possible. This looks like a fairly large city, and Bern is a large city. Here we are on the train going along, and we did go into Austria, went up to Hitler's hideaway, which is in the Austrian mountains. Beautiful country, and it borders Switzerland, and that's the Rhine River you see flowing. This is the train actually follows along the Rhine River. And again, it's if I hadn't panned so quickly, here are a bunch of us waiting to get on to the some more transportation to go back to camp. I think you're going to see a picture of me here a little bit after somebody else takes the camera. That's me on the left. He took it away from me, so didn't see much of me there. Oh, there I am there, but you can only see my sergeant stripes. There I am. And that's the train we got on and went back to camp. Here's either some guys coming or going. This is back at camp again now. We ended up in Czechoslovakia at the end of the war. In fact, that camp that I showed you a little bit earlier was in Czechoslovakia. Hope he's got no rounds in that. I don't know, this was just a dog there. I guess they had it as a mascot. Here's that camp again. They did have, this was, of course, totally surrounded by barbed wire, and they did have some furnaces in here where they cremated some of the bodies, and I don't know if it was what the situation was. It wasn't like the one that was so known. This was a football game, and this was again between some of the divisions. This was, of course, after the war. This was like in September, October of 1945. We came home in December of 1945, which you'll see a little later. Some of the groups of trucks. I can't think of the word right now, but it's I must have had a lot of extra film I didn't know what to do with. It's very difficult to tell which team is which here, but I guess there are dark jerseys and light jerseys, but should have sold these to the this was when we were getting of course it's getting later in the year, so this is like maybe November. We did have some snow. This is the camp yet too. As you can see, all the barracks is out there. This is not where we stayed. This is where the prisoners were kept. Apparently they're all inside, because we had a lot of them there. I guess 3,000 or 4,000. There's the fence. There's some of the prisoners we just passed very quickly. Snow is beautiful on the pine trees there. There you can see one of the guardhouses. There's some of the guardhouses again. Just kind of surveying around. Now this is on their way from Germany, or from Czechoslovakia really, to Cherbourg, France, where we would get on a ship there and then come home. This was like November. That's me. This is the Autobahn. It's one of the roads that you hear so much about. It was snow on the ground, but it wasn't really cold. Oh, it was below freezing, of course, but it wasn't like sub-zero. Here we are fraternizing with some of the Germans. They're coming up and looking for anything you got in the way of candy or cigarettes. There's a guy with his rifle. He's looks like out shooting birds or something. I hope. That's a picture of me just past there. It's getting near the end of this film, so she has some wine or something she's passing out here. I think we're still in Germany at this point. That's the end of this one, so we'll start the next one right away. All right, here's number two roll, and this is when we were at Cherbourg, France, and this was a port of debarkation where we stayed for a couple of weeks, and then we left for home. This was more than likely the latter part of November, first part of December, 1945. Here we go. These were the tents we stayed in, waiting for the ship. Now, as you can see, it's much warmer here. Standing in line, waiting to get chow or go to a movie or whatever. But these are the guys that I came with. That guy was in my squad when we were in combat, that gentleman standing there. M Company of the 357th Infantry Regiment of the 90th Division. There's a guy taking pictures. I don't know how in the hell he did it. He'd stand you up there and he'd put a piece of film in or something, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's really fast film, huh? Anyhow, you can see this large number of tents. A large number of guys coming back. We came back according to the number of points that we had. That's a theater. They're a movie theater. And the name of it was May Get In. But it was according to the points. They took Purple Hearts, Good Conduct Medals, any kind of battle stars that you had. All of these things added up. If you were married, you got extra points, and once you hit a certain number of points, you were in that order to go home. This was one of the tents burned down, the chow tent. And I took these at night, which wasn't too bad, I didn't think. There's those scratches again due to the film. Some of the splices I made, so try to ignore those. I can't take them out. This was an outdoor theater. At night they could project on there, or they'd have live entertainment if any people from the what is it? Not OCS. The what was Bob Hope attached to? You know, that's the kind guys. I mean, anyhow, this was just kind of killing time, waiting to get on the ship and go home. Incidentally, when we got on the ship, it took us 23 days to cross the Atlantic Ocean from Cherbourg, France to New York Harbor. Here's the boats, some of the ships waiting for us. They were called Liberty ships. There was about 500 GIs on there. It was just a little bit larger than a cork. The Atlantic in December is very, very rough. And in fact, one day we traveled 24 miles in 24 hours. So you can imagine we just stood there going up and down and up and down, and many, many, many people got sick. Fortunately, I came within an inch, but I didn't get sick. They had bunks stacked up about 5 or 6 high, so that one guy is, this is the water now. Leaving I didn't take any going out of the Mediterranean. It was smooth as glass. We traveled at a very good speed. I know one day we made over 200 miles, which we thought, gee, we'll be home and nothing flat, you know. But then we got into the Atlantic, which was very, very bad. In fact, at that time, one of our aircraft carriers actually broke up in the Atlantic, and they did lose some people. It was exactly the same time that we were coming across. Can't remember any of these guys' names anymore. There's porpoises. This is the Mediterranean, as you can see, is very smooth. I don't know if I took any pictures of the Blarney Stone there. There I am, sitting there with my life jacket on. My sunglasses, I managed to keep those all the way across. Now we're getting out. No, I thought that was going to be more rough water, but it wasn't. Here we go. This is how the Atlantic was for like 23 days going across. And you'll see as I hold the camera there, as you can see the side, how high it goes up before it comes back down again. And this is rolling. This is not front to rear. We did go across in a convoy. There was several other ships with us. Oh no, we aren't out in the Atlantic yet. I don't know what this is. Are we? Oh, that's the Statue of Liberty. I didn't think we were all through. That didn't last long, did it? I told you 23 days. It took 23 seconds on the film. This is coming into New York Harbor. That's what these ships are. And of course, there was ship after ship. This ship came out to greet you, and they had bands, and they'd play, and they'd wave flags, and sing, and welcome home, and all this good stuff. Unlike the GIs that came back from the Vietnam War, they didn't get any kind of a welcome. In fact, they were almost rejected. So I can see how they feel. This is a real good feeling. You're coming into New York Harbor after 23 days on the water, and I don't know what happened to the Statue of Liberty. You must have passed it up already. No, there it is. See it behind the ship there? There she is. This is December. Oh my God, what's this? Oh, this was December 27th, 1945. So it was after Christmas. Christmas was over. We thought sure we'd be home by Christmas because we left. Let's see, the 27th. I think we left around the 5th or 6th of December. Everybody was saying we'd be home by Christmas, but we didn't make it. Not that Christmas, anyhow. There's the Statue of Liberty, not the Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building. Here's a whole bunch of the guys. It was kind of cold. Standing around, as you can see, everybody's got their overcoats on, except that guy. I don't know what happened to him, but this is in December. There's the Empire State Building. We pull into one of these. You see where that ship is docked? Well, that's how we will eventually pull into and dock and then debark. These pictures aren't fantastic, but they aren't bad for movie cameras. Were relatively new at that time. People didn't have movie cameras. I was fortunate to have one, so I could get these pictures, otherwise you wouldn't see them. That makes sense, doesn't it? Welcome home again. You see all the signs, and now there's a ferry going across.